feature presentation.
He'll be fine on the mountain.
JB and Darren on the JB and Goldwater Show.
Line drive right field, base hit. South Carolina wins the College World Series. Watson, touchdown. Hunter Renfrow. He got him, and it's all over. Coastal Carolina rules the roost. They win the championship. And South Carolina has won the national championship.
The Louisville baseball team has done it again, but this time the Bulldogs beat one of the top teams in the country. They are giant killers. Get the ball to Bennett. He does.
Gamecocks are in the Final Four.
All right, greetings and a good Wednesday afternoon, and welcome aboard the JB and Goldwater Show, live, loud, and online, and very proudly presented by Motley Rice. Causes not just cases. MotleyRice.com, driven by Stokes Volkswagen. Find them at StokesVW.com. We're brought to you in part today by our friends at Freeway Flyers USA. I did not try to do that. It just kind of rolled off that way. FreewayFlyersUSA.com. If you need new tires, that's where you want to go. Why? Because when most tire places, at least here in the low country, they serve the Tri-County area, say, yeah, we'll get you right in. Come on by. They never get you out, ever. So if you go to Freeway Flyers USA, you don't have to worry about that because they're going to come to your house, or they're going to come to your office, or they're going to come wherever you need them to come. Just give them a call. Head to FreewayFlyersUSA.com for more information. They can get you any tire. It doesn't matter whether your truck is jacked up or you got one of those little low riders that I've never been able to understand, where the bumper's kind of riding along on the street. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but if it makes sense to you, that's fine. And they have tires that will fit that vehicle too. FreewayFlyersUSA.com. The Share Healthcare chat lines are open, and we hope that you'll jump in those and be a part of our program the next couple of hours. We will be joined in about 7 minutes on the phone by our dear friend, everybody's dear friend. The guy doesn't have a mean bone in his body, Mr. Patrick Davis. He is having a big week. Already performed it Monday after the Masters with Hootie and the Blowfish, and he is set to take the stage Saturday outside of Williams-Brice Stadium for Big Gamecock weekend. He will be performing, Patrick Davis and his Midnight Choir, at 5 p.m. in Gamecock Park right across the road. So head over and watch PD get things underway for Gamecock football, the spring game under the lights at 7 o'clock. We're going to preview that with JC Shurburtt at 12:30 today. In depth, a detailed spring preview. Darren and I, quite frankly, haven't talked a ton of spring football for anybody, really, over the last few weeks, but we've spent the last couple of days on it, and today is our final day on the air until next Monday, because Darren's going to get on a plane, I think. I'm pretty sure he's not driving to California for Passover for his family. The rest, or many of us, will be celebrating Easter this weekend. We'll all be celebrating something, and hopefully you'll all be enjoying time with your families. Make sure you follow us on social media at JB and Goldwater, and individually at Sports Media JB and at Darren Goldwater. With that said, Darren, before we get Patrick in about 5 or 6 minutes, what's up?
People are already talking in the Share Healthcare chat line about the wonderful performance of the Nationals last night, and D. Strange Gordon, because he added Strange to his name so that it could go all the way across his back on his jersey. His wonderful pitch that knocked down Travis d'Arnaud, and prayers to d'Arnaud. I mean, he could be still in the hospital.
And by the way, they're about to throw the first pitch in 15 minutes today, too, in that series.
Yep, that's a 12-15 one to end that series. So,
yeah.
Hey, good for the Braves. Soto hit his 100th career home run. That was good for the Nationals. But at least a funny moment.
Yeah, that was classic, man. I was that made me laugh. And I'm glad that it did, because like I am, you know how I am, Darren. I'm such a purist of the game of baseball, and I am just so sick and tired of when games are out of hand in Major League Baseball, seeing these position players come in and throw pitches. Like it somehow we managed to get through 100+ years of baseball without that happening. And now it happens every week. And I understand the thinking behind it. I'm not stupid. They're saving arms and things of that nature. I get it. I understand all that, but to me, it just waves the white light flag. Like if you're going to do that, just say, hey, look, we're going to end the game. We don't want to play anymore. I cannot stand it. So I don't know. Maybe that'll be the next rule change for baseball. No position players unless you're down 25 runs, or I don't know. Or how about you have a choice? If you're going to put in a position player, you can just wave the white flag and end the ball game. Then everybody gets to save arms.
It was a disaster. I mean, it'd have been
It
nice.
was.
It'd have been nice if Patrick Corbin didn't implode. I mean, one of the national sites called the game a sideshow, and that's what it was, and that's what the season will have a few of. So there's one. There's the Nationals opening day starter. He looked really good in day 2.
Yeah. I look the who was it here in the Share Healthcare chat lines? Keith,
maybe.
Yeah, Keith Alsep. Darno wins the Oscar. I would go as far as to say that that was a that hit Darno harder than Will Smith hit Chris Rock.
Oh, see? I think Will Smith hit him harder. I think that slap was harder than that pitch.
I'm just playing. No, I agree. I certainly agree with that. No, I'm just trying to have some fun on this hump day about that. Hey, Courtney, hope you're doing well. Dos Banditos didn't Canseco blow out his arm pitching. I don't know if he blew it out. I think he hurt it.
I think he heard it. That rings a bell.
I don't think he blew it out though. I think it was just kind of a minor whatever. But I mean, it's Jose Canseco. I mean, a fly ball hit him in the top of the head and bounced over the wall. For God's sakes,
yes.
I mean, who knows? I don't know. Maybe he did.
He did. He injured his arm and underwent Tommy John to end the year after he pitched.
Oh, did he? Okay, all right. Well, you're right. Sorry. Hey, Hope, Courtney. I feel like we never see y'all until it's Wednesday. We're on the air Monday through Friday generally. Except for this week, I was sick and Darren's traveling. Y'all join us every day. We'd love to have you around here. If it takes JC every day, then we'll have to find a way to make that happen. Craig, what's good with you, my man? I did see the Josh Van mic'd up, and I tweeted that, retweeted it last night from the Carolina football account. You never know what these guys are going through. This young man is his brother died when he got to South Carolina, and people like idiots like me and others were questioning what was going on with him the first couple of years while he was a Gamecock. Why couldn't he get it going? Well, his hero died. That might have had something to do with it. And his little girl is coming to watch him at practice, and he's pushing her out in the stroller. Props to Shane Beamer, by the way, for letting his family in to watch him practice every day. That's really neat. I can't say that's the same in every program out there. So that's pretty cool. And I did see that. It is a 6-minute must watch if you just enjoy people. Craig, did you hear only students can attend the concert? That is the Darius Rucker concert inside of Colonial Life Arena. Before we get to PD, a quick roundup in baseball last night. Clemson beat USC Upstate, their 20th win of the year. Good thing, because they're only 2-9 in the ACC. South Carolina, well, they got to win. Josiah Seidler had a good night. Maybe that'll get him going. He was 3 for 3 with a home run, 4-2. The final over North Florida. They'll host on Big Gamecock weekend a 3-game series with 25th ranked Ole Miss starting tomorrow at Founders Park. Carolina is at 500 on the season. And how about those Citadel Bulldogs? They ended an 8-year losing streak to the College of Charleston. Now 18-13 on the season, 8-6, a comeback final for the Dogs. They're on the road. I talked to Tony Skoll this morning. They're headed to VMI, hoping to sweep the Keydets in that military rivalry. The Citadel, if they do, they'll get back to 500. Last weekend, they opened SoCon play. They started 0-3. Mercer's really good.
Always.
And Mercer swept them. The College of Charleston will host William and Mary starting Friday this week. But that wasn't the national story in baseball. I know, before I get Patrick in here, and Patrick, I know you can hear us, so don't answer the question. But does anybody out there, Darren, you probably know, does anybody know where Kodak Tennessee is?
Is it by East Tennessee State? No is the answer. I have no idea.
It's 20 miles east of Knoxville. That is where the Tennessee Smokies play their baseball. Okay. It's that you're driving I-40 and it's all of a sudden there's a nice minor league park right on the side of the interstate. You know, that one that everybody's like, who the hell plays there? Well, last night, Tennessee Tech played there, and they played the top-ranked Tennessee Volunteers, and they ended their 23-game winning streak. 3-2, the final score. So I would venture a guess that the Vols want nothing to do with the Techsters anymore at Smoky Stadium right there in Kodak, Tennessee.
Everyone who had Tennessee Tech breaking Tennessee's winning streak. Yeah, you win.
Yeah, you win. No doubt about it. This guy knows where everything in Tennessee is and in South Carolina. He's from the beautiful town of Camden, where he just played the Where I'm From concert, I think a couple of weeks ago, a little bit less than that now. And on Saturday, he'll be in the beautiful city of Columbia, right outside of Williams-Brice Stadium. It's Mr. Patrick Davis. Hey, bud.
What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Sorry, dude. I had to finish my ramble before I got you in. What are you?
You had a lot. You had a lot to say there. You had a lot to say. And that is a big win. That's a Kodak moment, you know.
See, that's why we pay. That's why we pay. That's why you're the unofficial voice of our program. It is.
Everybody good down there?
We're good. How are you? Are you hungover?
Man, I'm moving slow still. Not really necessarily hungover. We had Monday after the Masters was I don't know. It ended about 24 hours ago. Most people didn't sleep, so so it was good. It was all good. I'm getting ready for this weekend and a lot of other big things coming up. So, but the first thing on the agenda is definitely going to be playing at the spring game on Saturday. If I think the weather gods, if they'll smile on us, we'll have us a good time.
You know, you've got such a neat stretch of shows right now, PD. I mean, you know that I love you dearly, and I'm always so proud of you. But I really appreciate what you do for just for local communities. You just did it for yours in Camden. I know you love the Monday after the Masters up there with the Hootie Boys, and that is such a blast. You're going to come take care of your Gamecock family on Saturday. You're coming down here to the Windjammer and playing out there on the beach. I mean, I think, first of all, your music's outstanding. A lot of people just know you as the Gamecock guy, and then they go see you, and they're like, oh, my God, this dude is brilliant, and so is the Midnight Choir. I just want to make sure we give you some public props because you do a lot for a lot of small communities that really need it, and we really appreciate it.
Oh, you're sweet, man. You're sweet. That's I love South Carolina, so it's a special place. Not just because it's where I was, born and raised. It is. I've been all over the world, and and also it's as you get older in this life, you realize the people you actually care about are, you start figuring that out a little bit more. So it might be sexier to be somewhere else, but nothing feels better than going home and playing in your hometown, like in Camden. I did a festival 2 weeks ago. I called the Where I'm From Festival. Song I wrote about Camden a few years back, and it was a beautiful experience. Camden's only a town of about 5,000 people, and we ended up having about like 600-700 people were out there at that show, which is that may not seem like much, but in Camden that might as well be I don't know, Led Zeppelin playing Madison Square Garden. So it was awesome, and then the Gamecock weekend, this whole thing, I got to give a shout out to Eric Nichols and the guys at Coach Beamer for putting this together, because this is going to be something unique, and I believe it's something that's going to start tradition with these night games. It just, the atmosphere at Williams-Brice, we all know how incredible it is in the fall, so I'm excited to think that we'll get that one night, one Saturday every spring as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. You're right. Shout out to Eric. Eric's a great guy, and Shane is a great guy as well, and he's trying to get it going. Hey, man, walk us through the show in Camden, the Where I'm From event that you had a couple of weeks ago. I know you've stated how much it meant to the local community, but just kind of describe it. I'm sure, I mean, when you were younger, I mean, you've played in Camden, but I know it's probably been a while. Like, what was the whole experience like? Just describe the whole day.
Oh man, it was just, well, basically, everybody knows Camden. If they know Camden, they know Camden because of the Carolina Cup. And so that's Carolina Cup weekend. That Carolina Cup weekend was always the biggest thing, in the world for us, local kids. Our little town went from 5,000 people to 100,000 people for that weekend. And over the past, I guess, 15 or 20 years, the world's changed a lot, and they made some changes to the Cup. Basically what they did was, my understanding is, they shut down College Park, which used to be probably why most of us knew the Cup, because a lot of kids were busing in from, they'd come in from Chapel Hill, or they'd come in from Clemson, and they'd be on a tour bus that would allow for them to have kegs and Everclear on it, and they drink for 3 hours, come into Camden, and then they'd show up at 11 in the morning, and they'd end up in the hospital in Camden, and the Cup was getting the rap for it, and even though so they made some changes with that to kind of make it safer, and which my 18-year-old self probably would have been pissed, but I understand as an older man.
Yeah.
But that made the Cup go from maybe 75 to 100,000 people each year to go to about 30 to 40,000 people, which is a big number for a small community like that. You're losing all that revenue. So I'd seen the Cup week and the weekend kind of go away a little bit, and I was home last year on the night before the Cup. I went through Camden at about 11 o'clock. I drove in. I think I was in Charleston or something, and I'd gone up to see my family. And I was amazed at how quiet it was. And I was like, what is going on? The Cup used to be like, it was like Monday after the Masters. It was like 3 days of a damn good time. So I decided, I was like, let's try to do something. And in my hometown, I'd always wanted to do something. And I said, the best weekend to do that would be the night before the Carolina Cup. And so that's how the Where I'm From festival kind of started, the idea. And I got a buddy of mine down there in Camden. It's a restaurateur and kind of an all-around awesome guy named Alex Singleton to help me put it together. And then it was pretty funny, man. It's like Kevin Costner: if you build it, they will come. And small towns, they a lot of places, like, this game, Shane's a prime example with the Gamecock this weekend. It's like, people will be like, oh, you can't do that, you can't, too much work. And then once you do it, everybody's like, oh my God, how do we get involved? And that's kind of what happened at the Camden, the Where I'm From festival, and we're already, like, next year, I'm sure we'll be pushing 1,000 people next year. And I've had calls from, I've got a bunch of buddies that don't live in Camden anymore. They moved away, and they're all excited about the idea of being like, man, I can't believe I missed that. They want to come back. It gives them an excuse to come back and see a concert and kind of like a family reunion, and then come to the Carolina Cup, which is, in Camden, we got the Revolutionary War Park. We got Bobby Ingram and Bonnie Holiday, and we got Rusty Davis, and we have the Carolina Cup.
Rusty.
So we'll have a lot of things, So we gotta, it's, but it doesn't mean that it's not a wonderful, special place. And I just tell anybody out there listening, if you have the ability to help your small community, you may not think it means much, but I think you'd be amazed at what it does. And you mentioned the Monday after the Masters, and that's a prime example of that. That's been going on for 26, 27 years now, and that's just if you build it, they will come. Take some work, but it'll happen.
There's no doubt about that. And I guess, I'm assuming that people know this, but for anybody that visits Camden, when you go downtown, the Davis and Sons Guitar Shop, that's Patrick's family. That's your dad down there. So
yeah, my old man's on the corner teaching an army of probably about 50 to 60 people a week between the age of 5 and 80 are learning Metallica, Taylor Swift, Jimi Hendrix, and I don't know, Luke Combs, whatever they're listening to. Eric Church would be after you. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hey, how's your Eric Church night? After canceling a concert, like how you feeling about that one?
Yeah. So would you do it? Wait, if the Gamecocks are in the national championship and you're playing, Clemson. I don't know,
it was a rivalry, Clemson.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Clemson, and you've got a show in some massive arena or massive stadium. What would you do?
I understand the fact that that's such a crazy thing that happens because of the NCAA tournament. Being like you can't, you wouldn't know that was going to happen. There's no, you have 5 days. You have 5 days, head start on the information once those games were won by Duke and North Carolina. But this is my take on it. I think if you are an Eric Church fan, part of what you believe, whether or not it's true or not about the guy, is that he doesn't give how can a F
Yeah.
whatever CK about you or about anybody. That's
Right.
part of his thing. Like he's the outlaw. He's like he wears his sunglasses when it's like it's 12:30 at night. He wears his sunglasses. So he's always got that persona. So I am assuming that if you are a true fan, you have to kind of be like, well, this is kind of his MO. It fits the story. It fits the narrative. He's like, I'm going to do what's best for me and my family. I don't care about you guys. But I will say that I like the fact that he's making it up and everything with a free show. But the problem with the whole thing is country music fans, they're every man. They're, it's middle America, I guess. It's not, and those people that go to an Eric Church concert that flew in, they got hotels and all the things, like that's the part that sucks. Like they're not getting refunds on that. I mean, I don't know how the percentage of people that had to deal with that, but I'm saying that does definitely suck. But if you're an Eric Church fan, it kind of fits with his whole like, I'm a badass thing,
Yeah.
So I kind of go, okay. I mean, like, it's like, it makes, it makes sense. And I know it was a huge game. Here's the thing. My friends in Charlotte, North Carolina had an event on that night, a huge event. They are the family that owns Cheerwine. And so these are lifelong North Carolina people. And it was me, it was Edwin McCain, it was a bunch of my Stars of Paradise people, and my little sister Megan, the Midnight Choir, we were all there, and it was hysterical because about like half the audience was in another room watching the game. And we were, and we'd get off the stage because it was an event, like we were jumping up and playing, and then and we all were walking back. We weren't even watching our friends play. We were back in the back watching the game. So I mean, it was it's one of those deals where you're like, okay, well, it's I get it. But the Eric Church thing, I think the thing that sucks to me is that it definitely is a bummer that people did lose money on that deal, and no matter if he makes up the tickets or not, there's some people out there that times are hard, man. Inflation's high. So, it's, airline tickets and stuff like that are, it's hard for him to, I guess it's hard to comprehend, and maybe he just said, screw it. I'm going for it, which I think is what he said.
It's exactly what he said. Yeah. I actually agree with you because that's how I thought it. Well, that's him, but I also thought about it from his side. I thought you got to compare this if you're going to get into it, which we're not going to spend any more time on this, but you got to go apples to apples. It can't be apples to oranges. So I had to put myself, what could possibly come up like this where I would cancel something that is what I do that's that big of a deal. And it had to be Clemson, Carolina, college football playoff semifinal. And I'm like, yeah, hey, look, this has never happened before. Probably maybe never happen again. I'm out. I'm worth $100 million. I'm out. Whatever.
Yeah, well, I played I had a show the night before the Final Four game against Gonzaga. I played the Peace Center, and so I couldn't be at the final. I had a ticket to go if we would have won that game to the final, but I just had to. I had to say, well, I mean, like, I'll make it. I mean, like, I'm also not like, Eric Church. You got to also think he probably lost $1 million on not doing that show.
Right.
So it's not like he didn't, but $1 million to Eric Church is not, is not the same as the $1,500 to the casual fan who had 4 people coming. I mean, right. Like those are, he's got like Jeff Bezos, music money. So, but whatever, like it's fine. Like I think it's a good story. And once again, it falls into the thing of like, if he's an outlaw and the whole thing, and he's like, I'm going to do what's best for me. And that's what people like about him and his music. Then you ought to actually be applauding him.
Yeah. Well, I did applaud it personally. And that's why we applaud you, because you do what's best for everybody else. And that's what you're doing Saturday at 5:00 before.
No, it's good. It's good for me too, man. But I respect that. I thank you for saying that. But no, hey, 5:00 on Friday. On Saturday. That's right. I can't wait. It's I just hired a catering company to cater behind backstage.
Oh, really?
For the Midnight Choir. I was like, hey guys, I need a spread. I was like, we're not going to do a game because it should be fun. This shouldn't be. I'm not like take this for what it is, but I'm not taking this gig super seriously in terms of like it's going to be a good time. Haney's coming down to help me with. Haney helps with some stage stuff and merch and stuff, and Michael Haney. And I'm going to have Haney. We wrote a song with I wrote a song with Haney. He called me up because the guys Langston and those guys that do what's called
the book
Just a Chicken.
that we're up Just a Chicken.
Yeah, used to be a rooster or whatever. We wrote a little song for him, and Haney recorded it. I went in the studio and recorded it with him, and I told the guys, I was like, man, Haney can get up to sing that damn song. I was like, that'd be fun. I was like, this is great. This is going to be a good time. We're supposed to be celebrating the fact that we are a lot closer to being where we want to be than we have been in the past 4 or 5 years. It doesn't mean that we're making the promised land, this year, but man, it's going to be a lot more exciting to watch Gamecock football than it has been. In Muschamp years were like fucking dark ages. So I'm just like, let's get to a happy place.
So wait, I heard this correctly. You're gonna lure Michael Haney up on stage, and he's gonna sing.
Oh yeah, I already told him, because the thing is, we wrote. Langston and those guys wanted to put a. They go to the schools and talk to all these, the kids. They read the books and everything, and it's cool. It seems like a pretty cool enterprise. And they asked Haney about writing a song, and Haney asked me if I would sit down and write a song with him. So I was like, cool. So we sat on my back porch and wrote a song called "Used to Be a Rooster." I guess I don't know if his name yet, but I told they're gonna do something with it when the season starts, probably, so they can hopefully sell more books or get kids interested in a different way. But Haney's the one. I was like, guys, I'll do this, but I was like, I'll let Haney's gonna sing it. Haney did it in the studio. It was awesome. It was fun, and I'm gonna make him get up there, and I'm gonna serve him a bunch of Steel Hands brew,
right,
and get him a little feeling good, and be like, all right, buddy, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, all right, so you can text me this off the air, but if I can squeeze back there, I'll do it. But do I need to bring my own whiskey jam, or are you going to have enough of that?
Man, you can bring. There's never enough whiskey jam. That's what I tell people. Like it's like you bring. Hey, I don't even know. I don't even know how this is working. Like, this is kind of uncharted territory. Like, it's just. I think people just bring in lawn chairs or whatever, hang out. Maybe the Gamecock walk will be going through. We're honestly, it's super. My idea with this with Eric was, this should be an annual thing that happens.
Yeah.
This needs to be you tell me when this is far enough in advance, I'll make sure that I'm there. I was like, because, there's one thing that I love. Once again, as you get older, at least as I have gotten older, I realize that things are important to me. And a lot of those things that are important to me are not necessarily the things that are going to make me the most money, are going to, they might take a little bit of time, but they're going to make me they're going to fill up my cup. With not just whiskey jam, they're going to fill my cup up in other ways, and that's what this is. And I think it's going to be a really great night. And bring whatever you can. Can you even have booze? I guess it's tailgating. You got to be able to have just walk around, it's like the Carolina Cup. Just walk around.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'll text you when I get there. I'm
seriously. I'm setting up a tailgate. I got catered. I was like, I need some food, and we're gonna put some drinks back here, and we'll just make it. Yeah, whoever wants to come, just come hang out. We don't care. It's literally like a family reunion. This is like the most unpretentious thing that I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know what we're doing. We're playing.
Easy saying that.
My dad will be there.
Good. Is Megan coming? Is she going to be up there?
Megan is not. She cannot be there this weekend. She's got something. We're all leaving. We're all leaving for Napa, for my SIP Napa, very soon after this. So, Megan actually is she has children that she tries to raise. So trying to be there every now and then is important. So they know who she is.
Tries to raise.
They'll be like, oh, Mom. That's right, Mom.
Now, what about, first of all, how is Lauren doing in her rehab, and will she be in Columbia?
No, she will not. She's 6 weeks in out from hip surgery. She had a hip replacement, which is crazy to be as young as she is. And but she had a childhood, some trauma happened that they're not really sure exactly what it was, but apparently she just had lived with it for most of her life, and it got to be where it was debilitating. And so she's 6 weeks. She's walking with a cane and kind of taking some steps here and there without it right now. And she just got clearance to fly. My songwriters in Paradise festivals that I do all over. Napa is next week, so that's her first big flight out to California, and she's pretty excited. I'm pretty excited about that as well. So, yeah, man, just hip surgery is no joke. Let me just put it like that.
Was it Was it hip dysplasia? Because our daughter had that, and they found it when she was born, and she was in a brace for, I don't know, 6 months or something like that. And they said
they said that they don't know. They don't know if it was something. She could have fallen out of a tree when she was 3 and just been like, I'm fine, whatever. And then something happened with her, like the ligaments, because of how that happened. It pulled them out of place. So it was really just bone on bone from the time she was a child. And so they basically, when she went in thinking they were just going to tell her that she needed to go to a chiropractor or something. And they were like, you have the hip of a 200-year-old. So we're going to need to get you in here very soon. And it was debilitating pain. It was constant, but she just lived with it. So, but my thing is it's a terrible surgery and everything, but the idea of, I think the pain, is such that a lot of people just have to make the decision that they got to, go get the surgery. It might suck, but it won't suck as much as having to limp around for your whole life.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Well, we're obviously thinking about her. I think we actually mentioned her on here not too long ago, so we'll continue to keep her in our thoughts and prayers. Now, do you have a set list yet? Okay, wait. Are you gonna play Big Old Cock?
Man, I haven't even thought about that yet. Should I play Big Old Cock outside of the stadium? The only reason thank you for bringing that up to me.
That's a good idea. You can be your marketing manager.
That's a great idea. Maybe that's cool. Should I say Go Cocks 2 times during the show too? Just throwing it out there. Just spitballing here. No, man. Yeah. I'm actually, I'm going to try my best to do a few things that I don't normally, there's some of those songs, I only, you can't really do Wingo and his Yard Cocks anywhere else in the world where they're going to understand what you're talking about. So, it'll be a few of those things for sure. But no, there's no set list. Right? I'm not kidding when I tell you I want this. This is very laid back. It'll be a lot of fun. But I'm not. There's the stress level for this one is it's kind of like Darius, he does he did for the women's basketball. Of course you're going to do a show and you're going to try to do your best, but it's also supposed to be fun. You're supposed to do it because you're surrounded by people that you genuinely care about, and I adore Gamecock athletics. I always have. I was a kid listening to Bob Fulton in Camden, South Carolina. It was always like wow, that's like the big leagues, and getting to be a part of the Gamecock community the way that I have because of music one, but really writing the Gamecock stuff. It's like it's really opened up so many doors for me that that have made me very, very happy. It meant a lot to my life, and I've met a lot of great people. Hell, I met you guys from it. So I'm just kind of there to celebrate a little bit. Have a few beers, have some whiskey jam, play a few songs, make some people smile. And I don't care if I hope there's 90-year-olds out there, and I hope there's there's 5-year-olds out there. That's a little different than my normal show, but this is supposed to be something different. So,
hey, have you ever thought about writing a song about Bob Fulton, the voice?
Me and Nichols have talked about, next year is actually the 10-year anniversary of doing the Gamecock album. And we discussed the idea of possibly doing, kind of a, part two, So I was like, I'm putting out an album at the end of this year, beginning of next year. I was like, if I can schedule wise, if it fits to where I could do something, next August, September, around that. I would have to make sure that it was done from a place where I could actually sit down and write, 3 or 4 more songs that were kind of, that I could. I know it may sound like, Big Old Cock was written in 15 minutes laughing, which it was, but I actually care. I care about those. So I want them to be good songs. I don't want them to just be, for no reason, just to be a Gamecock thing, just to, to move a needle. So I got to make sure I could do it. But that's Bob Fulton is definitely one of the guys that's in the conversation about in my brain. Been like, oh, he's a cool person. I just don't know if enough people would know. Because you got to be over like 40 to know who Bob Fulton is. It's not really maybe 35 to,
Well, can you be? You're right, but I don't know. If you're a Carolina, if you're a new Carolina fan, that's your problem. You better figure out who Bob Fulton is, or you're not supposed to be around here. That's sorry, but that's just kind of the way it is. But you can help educate them by doing something like that. And the Wingo thing, because the baseball game's at 1, so hopefully it'll be over. Maybe text Scotty and see if you can get him up there. he just lost his grandfather. Mr. Billy's dad passed away. And so I bet that'd mean a lot to him. So get him up there and, shower him with love.
Yeah, well, I'll hit him up on the old tweeter and see if what he says. And no, I mean, and that's the great thing. I mean, I hope Owen Brewer and all those guys, and I think that's what Shane has done such a great job, is bringing back in to the fold this feeling that we are family. I mean, that's the thing. You asked me about Monday after the Masters. We hadn't been able to do that in 3 years, and on Monday night, it was a wonderful, beautiful, fun time, but it was also, part of it was just giving a lot of people hugs that we hadn't been able to see in 2.5 years nearly as much as we wanted to. Like I had a few moments with the Hootie Boys, like that. I was just like, we don't see each other enough. We love, I love you.
Yeah.
Love you too. Like that kind of stuff. And that's kind of what I feel like Shane has.
Yep.
Some of the other former coaches didn't allow that to happen. I've heard stories about Holtz. I've heard, Muschamp, and Shane wants those guys back around, because who's going to care more about Gamecock football than the former Gamecocks? Like you need Sterling to be around.
Yep.
Like, you need, just Big George, out signing autographs beforehand. You need him to actually be like, talking to the running backs. That's what we want. We want that. So that's, I think that's what Shane's done, and he's figured that out across the board. Calling this Gamecock weekend, like, making everyone feel like they're a part of it. From the big donors, I'm friends with a lot of big donors. They're being treated so differently than they have in the past decade, and that's a really, really big deal. So
it's a huge deal. You're absolutely right, PD. We're set to let you run. Hey, if you talk to Shane beforehand, I know we won't. If you talk to him, tell him if he's planning to keep the old Spurrier run the wide receiver off the bench shtick intact this year. He needs to actually get Sterling in there and let Todd throw him a pass, and we'll do it that way. That'd bring it back, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we'll get. I mean, and those are the types of things. I think that's what Shane is thinking. He realizes what that. We always. We have a tough time dealing with, the guys from the upstate, but they've been better at marketing than South Carolina has been. Like Dabo is a salesman. Dabo is he's like a Pentecostal preacher. Like he'll sell you whatever he needs to sell you that day on the side of the road. And we need a little bit of like that world, like not quite, maybe not quite as fake as I think a lot of that is, but like there's a reason that they feel like it's a family up there, so. Yeah. That's kind of what I hope happens, and those bringing in Todd and any of those former players, go back as far as you can and make it as relevant to the new kids too. There's a reason why I did the Big Old Cock version for with Beamer in it. It has Marcus and Jadeveon and those guys. You need those people in it, because there's a whole generation of people that don't know who the hell Corey Miller was.
Yeah. Well, I do, because I've told you 15 times. He about made me pass out that one night when he put me in a headlock. He thought he was being funny, but he didn't realize he caught me under the chin. So thanks, Corey. I survived.
Corey's a very strong human being. Like he
yes.
does not know how. Like Corey got up and sang at Monday After the Masters with us. He always jumps on one of the microphones and sings harmony. And most microphone situations, like 3 or 4 people can kind of get angle themselves around the microphone. But the problem with Corey is Corey, there's no way to get around him. So he's just Corey. I go, but that's Corey's mic. All right, cool. But, thanks guys for chatting, guys. And you're coming out on Saturday, right?
Yep. Yeah, I'll be up there. I'm debating on what time I'm leaving and all that stuff, but I will. I'll call you on the way or text you on the way or whatever, and come see you.
Come on over. We'll have some barbecue and beers and whiskey jam. So
yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I'm anxious to watch some football, and certainly looking forward to seeing you. And then I'll see you next month too when you're back down here. So I'm looking forward to that.
The Jammers, May 15th. You guys, if you guys in the area down there, y'all make up. We did that last year on a Sunday, midnight choir. It sounded like it meant to be a Sunday evening show. And
yep,
the beach stage is amazing. And Sunday also keeps out a little bit of the riffraff that you sometimes will have pop into the Jammer. So I keep the ticket prices a little higher than the more normal people that are taking shots just nonstop, and a Sunday evening. So there you go. It's pretty good. So if you guys are looking for a excuse to come hang out on the beach on May 15th, y'all please do.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll continue to push that for you. We look forward to the weekend and really appreciate the time as always, my friend. Drive safe, travel safe to the Midlands, and can't wait to see you
I
this
will, man.
weekend.
Yeah, me neither, brother. But okay, guys, I will. Or me either, guys. I will. And go Cox, and I will think about doing Big Old Cock on Saturday. Thanks for that.
Yeah, let us know if you do. Maybe just open and close with it.
Yeah. Oh, hey, don't. That actually is the idea that I may run with.
And find Tanny
All
Hill.
right, bye, guys.
Later.
See ya.
Later, y'all. Bye.
There you go. Patrick Davis from, I don't know where he's from. I have no idea where he is right now. Somewhere in the Palmetto State, but he'll be in Columbia on Saturday. We certainly know that. All right, we got to go to a break. When we return, JC Shurburtt anxiously waiting to pop in right here on the JB and Goldwater show.
This is Mike Mazzell for Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate Road. You know what happens when you sell record numbers of new vehicles? That's right, we take in record numbers of local trades. Despite what the news is saying, quality pre-owned vehicles really aren't that hard to find. You just need to know where to look. Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate and on the web at stokesvw.com. We've got over 1,200 pre-owned cars, trucks, SUVs, and all at a fraction of the price when new. Every vehicle has been inspected and reconditioned, many with the balance of factory warranty. Best of all, at Stokes Volkswagen, you don't need perfect credit to get approved for a quality pre-owned vehicle. And we'll take any trade in any condition, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Don't forget, we'll buy your car even if you don't buy a car from us. You're going to love our pre-owned selection, I guarantee it. So come see us today at Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate or stokesvw.com.
Peace and love at Stokes VW.
Negative trade equity financed a new loan subject to lender approval.
People don't like to get stuck in traffic, stuck in the mud, stuck at work. And two others you probably don't think much about, stuck with a big medical bill or stuck with a healthcare program that doesn't fit who you are. Experience true medical freedom with Share Healthcare. More affordable, more options, user-friendly, and biblically sound. You can join right now. Explore a new way to show you care with Share Healthcare. Join us today at sharehealthcare.com. sharehealthcare.com.
Wando Power Equipment, the trusted home of Hustler zero-turn residential and commercial mowers. There is nobody more trusted in South Carolina than our friends from Wando Power Equipment. They've been providing elite commercial and residential service for over 30 years. Landscape Services have turned to their selection of Hustler zero-turn mowers like the Raptor. Bigger, stronger, faster, and the most durable Raptor Hustler has ever designed. Located on Daniel Island and online at wandopower.com. Wando Power Equipment, owned by the Price family, the home of Hustler zero-turn mowers, rentals, service, and specializing in family and friendship.
It's the best time of the year on the sports calendar, and there's no better place to soak it all in than your spring headquarters. Dog and Duck, with 3 area locations in Bell Hall, Park West, and Clemens Ferry Road. Until May, $5 pints of Wicked Weed Brews and Devil's Backbone, again, until May. Patio seating, happy hour daily, family bingo on Monday, the Duck Truck Double Burger every Wednesday, rib night on Friday. It's the place to be for the best wings in town, the best sports everywhere you look. Dog and Duck, 3 area locations, Bell Hall, Park West, and Clemens Ferry Road.
Motley Rice LLC is a law firm with international reach, but it hasn't lost its Carolina roots. The Motley Rice team fights every day for people harmed by products including asbestos and talc exposure, medical drugs and devices, and also catastrophic injuries and auto recalls, including dangerous Takata airbags. Motley Rice is headquartered in Mount Pleasant at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard. Visit motleyrice.com. Thank you, Motley Rice, for supporting the JB and Goldwater show and the Big Gamecock preview show.
Your online radio. The new online radio that makes you happy. I got honeybees beating on my screen door. I got a little buzz in my head. Cause we come from a long line of sinners like me. La-di-da, la-di-da,
And you were listening to the JB and Goldwater show, live, loud, and online.
don't cry for me when I'm gone.
2 familiar voices
Put a quarter in the
in that
jukebox.
bumper. Just heard one of them, Patrick Davis. Coming to Columbia on Saturday. Can't wait. Wish JC would be there, but he won't get. He's scared of airplanes still, so he'll just.
I'm afraid.
Sit around in Chicago.
I've watched Lost too many times.
Watch it on the SEC Network Plus.
Castaway.
Right, what's up, dude?
Yeah, Castaway. I don't want to be on an island in the middle of Lake Murray with a volleyball as my only friend.
I'll be honest with you, with what goes on in this world, I think that's exactly where I'd want to be.
Wilson.
Yeah, but not with Wilson, and with some bourbon or something. So we obviously extended PD in that last segment, so we'll shorten you up in this one, and then we'll let you stay as long as you please in hour number 2, except for per Darren Goldwater's orders, not past hour 1:59 p.m. because we got
carpool time.
Yeah,
carpool, packing, lots of stuff to do today.
Packing some meat or some fudge.
Oh, packing.
Moving. Oh, okay. Sorry.
No,
my bad. Did I say that? My bad.
I am not afraid of the live situation, and I will be on a plane.
Guys, packing fudge.
Packing some fudge out there.
Never know.
They actually in Wisconsin. They make cheese, and apparently they do pack a lot of fudge in Wisconsin because it's at all the gas stations with the cheese, and so. It gives a whole new meaning to the term Green Bay Packers. Of course, I was told that by a hardcore Bears fan, and we think Clemson, Carolina's awful, but Green Bay and Chicago in the NFL is 10 times worse. It's just like they have one chant. The Bears just chant Green Bay sucks over and over again. You got the gas stations in Wisconsin on the way to Green Bay, and they had a fudge, in the gas stations. It's homemade, so they pack a lot of it. So that's what's probably in mind. Yeah, I'm like, what do they say in Wisconsin? The beef sandwiches. Chicago. Oh, Lord. Gold Badgers.
Oh, God. Do you even want to talk about football today? Because I'm at the point where I don't even care.
I've had a sinus infection. I mean, I told you guys last week. I told you Nat was sick.
Yeah.
Nat was sick all week last week. I didn't get it. And then Sunday I got it.
Yeah.
And we did a COVID test, did a chest X-ray, all that stuff. And it's just a bad sinus infection that has dripped back down. So,
yeah,
I was kind of under the weather. I've been rock and rolling today, though. I've gotten a lot of stuff done, so I'm pretty happy.
Had that 2 weeks ago, and then this weekend our entire house caught the stomach flu. Oh, joy.
Ooh, Lordy.
Yeah, it was.
Speaking of fudge. Ugh.
Yeah, thanks.
God.
Appreciate that.
Great visual there.
Yeah, man, I tell you, you are some kind of something, JC.
I'm on a roll today.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, the spring game's on Saturday. Did you hear about that?
No.
Well, kind of snuck up on us. Here it is. All of a sudden, it's Easter weekend, and so hey, man, how about this? I saw a little while ago on this website on the internet, Big Spur. Big Spur. Do you own that, or somebody owns it?
I do. I do own it.
All right, and I also saw the column on the Big Spur that Cam Smith is having no problem telling anybody I'm the best corner in college football. You just wait and see. Come fall 2022, and I'm not gonna. I don't want to read off what Mike Yuva. Well, I guess I can. He put it on our message board for all. I know Mike doesn't work for you, obviously, JC, but Mikey, and he said that in the press conference today that Spencer Rattler called Cam Smith the best DB he's ever practiced against. He calls him the truth. That's some high heat for Cam Smith here in April. My friend.
Listen, Cam Smith, and here's what a lot of people. He was a guy that he played at I guess Westwood High School in Blythewood, not Blythewood High School. Spent his junior year of high school in Maryland playing up there. It was a little skinny, but as a recruit, if you remember correctly, once people found his film, they were like, "My God, who is this guy?" And Georgia came after him hard. Tennessee came after him hard, Florida State, South Carolina. of course, the other program in the state did not offer him, but they would have had they had a chance. But he was pretty much going to Carolina, and so Clemson didn't offer him. Whatever, you know. And our guys at 24/7 Sports had him in the 5-star conversation. I think he finished 39th in the country overall. Some people, other evaluators probably did not rank him that high. I guess so. He finished 150. But he was considered, at least by our people, and at the time, the people that we had, I thought were far superior to anybody else in the industry. Charles Power and those guys had him as the 4th-ranked corner in the country, and that was legit. I thought, you know, I think some other people kind of looked at it and were like, "Oh, well, Clemson didn't offer, so whatever," and that's lazy.
Yep.
Clemson signed Andrew Booth in the same class, and so they had an elite guy anyway.
First rounder this year.
But here are the guys, you know, ahead of him. Derek Stingley was ahead of him. Well, that's a pretty good corner.
Yeah, not bad.
Tyreek Stevenson, you know, has he, you know, transferred already? I don't know if he's going to be that good. He was number 2, but everybody thought he was good. And then Scooby Carter was number 3. Pretty good player, right? And then Cam was number 4 and Booth was number 5. So the issue is, as people tend to do, is when you start talking about 5 stars, people are like, well, he didn't play his first or second year. My God, he's awful. And that happens in the South because we all follow recruiting and we have ridiculous expectations. But, you know, he redshirted because he had to gain weight. And then the best thing that happened to him was JC Horn and Izzy McQuamu opting out in 2020. And he was kind of thrown to the wolves. And if you notice in that Missouri game, you started to see it coming. You know, Missouri kind of picked on him early. Missouri's up 10-0, 17-0 going up and down the field. All of a sudden, he bows up and picks a pass off. And he's been really solid ever since. In 2021, you know, people that have evaluated his tape, PFF or whatever, graded him really high, kind of shut down a whole big part of the field. I don't think he played in the bowl game even. But this does not surprise me. And his confidence does not surprise me. I think you need to have that kind of confidence. And I think, you know, getting him to the level that he's at right now was basically a work in progress. But, you know, when you rank somebody high, it's not always about instant impact. It's about what are they going to be long term. And I think we're starting to see that. And so, you know, if you're looking at South Carolina's secondary, you're probably excited because if you got Cam that could give you, you know, reps at corner or reps at nickel or wherever and kind of be your star, and you still got Marcellus Dial and you still got Darius Rush, and then you got some younger guys and all that kind of gives you like a star back there in the secondary. And shoot, he could be the next corner from the Gamecocks to be drafted in the first round, like JC Horn or
like a lot of them.
Jonathan Joseph or Stephon Gilmore. Yeah. I think Sheldon Brown was second round, but you know, all those guys, Dante Robinson, you know, first round pick. So yeah, I think that's I think it's a good thing. And I think that the praise from Spencer Rattler, you know, as a guy, Spencer Rattler, who's been around, works out with some of the best players in the country in the offseason, whatever. That's high praise. And I don't think Spencer would have said that had Cam not been having an excellent spring. And it's come from other people too. You talk to, you know, you listen to other receivers talk, they're like, Cam Smith's a monster. And so that's good. So here's a guy that was a borderline 5-star, that was an All-American, that people gave up on prematurely. It's had a great year quietly last year, that could really, really benefit this year by an improved overall defense. And, you know, guys like Dial and Rush, you know, and Roderick and Ross and those guys in the secondary stepping up. So then that way, you know, if they've got their jobs covered, you know, teams are going to be forced to throw at him, and that could mean trouble for them.
I tell you what, it is always a good sign when you've got a talented corner who's not only confident, but almost on the edge of cocky. That's the one position that I like to see that. You know, corner, safety, the secondary guys. I'm a big fan of that. Always have been, and I hope it stays that way. You know, with only a couple of minutes left here, JC, and I do want to actually have a preview of the game today and some of the things that we've heard and what we're excited to see or watch for this weekend and stuff. But I'll just ask you this question about the defense because we've watched Jordan Strawn. We know now about Devani, certainly know about Cam and have. Zach Pickens and Jordan Burch. These are two of the top 4 players ever signed at the University of South Carolina. The other 2 are named Marcus Lattimore and Jadeveon Clowney. And they're going to be starters on the same defense for anybody that was wondering about that. You're returning Sherrod Green. You're returning Brad Johnson. You're returning a guy that I really like, Darius Rush, and so on and so forth. I mean, Boogie Huntley, we can keep going. But I mentioned some guys that have shown an ability to play with attitude. JC, we've seen it, and you almost get the feel like, and I'm not putting the cart before the horse here. Let's wait till about game 4 or 5 before we start figuring this out. But you almost get the spring feel that this defense has an attitude like that 12 defense did. Swearinger and those guys, they just carry themselves a little bit differently. We'll wait and see what happens. But in spring, just based on the people I've talked to, they kind of fly around out there and they have this feeling of, I know you don't have to tell us we're good, but we know that we're pretty good.
Yeah, and look, I think the defense played that way at times last year. At times they didn't. They played
two years ago. They played like that. They played like they thought they were good, and they sucked.
Yeah, you just like
that was a false. I don't know what that was.
Looking around doing whatever, but
these guys go to work.
Yeah, they do, and I think especially in the secondary, when you look at how far a lot of inexperienced players between 2020 and 2021 came. You mentioned Darius Rush, and Marcellus Dial hadn't played ball in 2 years until last year, and RJ Roderick got better, and you had Jalen Foster coming out of nowhere. Well, now it's not new anymore. Torian Gray and Clayton White, the second year in the scheme, second year in the system, everybody's back except Jalen Foster, and you added Devani Reed, who, that guy, if he doesn't play in the NFL 10 years, number one, I'd probably be a little surprised. Number two, he'll be a hell of a coach one day, because if you listen to him talk and kind of his knowledge of the game, that's what you want at safety. That and somebody that'll knock you know what in the dirt, which he does and can cover. So you added that piece, and you do have some young players behind them. But secondary is about swagger a lot, and it's about having a short memory. Now you can go out there and have all the swag you want and beat your chest and celebrate completions and get in people's face when they drag you 15 yards, like some former players around here have done in the past. and that just doesn't really work, But think about some of those secondaries that were here under Spur here.
Yeah.
Even during Muschamp, when you had Chris Lamons and at times Rashad Fenton and guys like that, they played hard, and so they all had a little bit of swag. And I think that, that's important at that particular position. It's important at wide receiver too. I mean, anything in the passing game, highly competitive guys with short memories is what you want. And so, that's the hope. They got to stay healthy. The whole defense has to be better against the run. But, like I said, second year, and you got a lot of guys going into a year where, it's their 4th, 5th year in the program. If they're going to make a jump on the field in college and get to the NFL, this is the season to do it individually, like Zach Pickens and Cam Smith and, some of those guys you mentioned, Sherrod Green and Brad Johnson. I mean, those guys are old men by now. It's like I call them, because they're linebackers, I call them thumpy old men.
Yeah, they're like father figures to some of these young cats.
Got grandchildren, It's like, come on, boy! I remember back in the day. I'm starting, but and I was thinking about this day. I have an article coming out at some point soon on the Big Spur when I find time to write it about the fact that Shane Beamer actually took over. I mean, it seemed like it was a bad time because of the pandemic and this, that, and the other, but because of the rules changes and the COVID rules, he actually took over, not just South Carolina, but any program at a good time because, credit to him because he's kept some of these guys, a lot of these guys around. Very few people have actually left and wanted to leave or whatever. And so unlike a normal rebuilding situation where you come in, if you have a bunch of transfers, you're replacing them with freshmen or JUCO guys that you still need to develop or whatever, you've not only got the portal that you could plug in really good players, but you have a lot of guys that have been here a while, like some of these offensive linemen. I mean, you're going to need a stick of dynamite to get them to leave after their eligibility's up because they're just not leaving, And sometimes the older you are, there's a big difference. I don't care how many stars you have by your name. It's a big difference between a 23-year-old man and an 18-year-old boy.
Right.
And in football, and in basketball too, you see it. But in football, that could be an advantage, as they hit the field on defense next year. So I think that the COVID year, the portal, all that stuff has really helped Beamer roster-wise get ahead of schedule. Whereas if this were like a normal coaching change, we'd probably be sitting there going, they're going to be young but promising in certain spots. And, you're kind of wondering who's going to play. Well, now you've got not only a bunch of newcomers that will get in there and play and improve the team, but you got a lot of guys that have played a lot of football that are back that just by being older and here another year and stronger, more strong and more experienced, they're going to go probably play well. So, it's hard to kind of be overly homerish optimistic about anything in Carolina, but, just looking at it from afar, there's a real shot to have a really good season this year based on the players they have coming back. I'm gonna temper my expectations like everybody else, but this is one of the best situations roster-wise South Carolina's had since the Spurrier era.
Absolutely.
Just in terms of the blend of veterans and talent and all that. You basically added 8 4-star players that are ready to roll. That you don't have to wait on developing through the portal. That's a big number, guys, especially when you consider that they're all older players, most of them.
And one of those guys is named Spencer Rattler. We're going to talk about him and much more. Thus far today, Patrick Davis has dropped a bad 4-letter word, and JC has dropped another F word, fudge, here on our program. Who knows what is in store for the final hour? But don't go anywhere. You'll find out if you stay here. We'll be right back on JB and Goldwater. Right here in our backyard is Motley Rice LLC, a law firm that hasn't lost its Carolina roots. The Motley Rice team fights every day for South Carolinians who were injured while traveling by plane or bus, harmed by medical drugs and devices, or burdened by dangerous auto recalls, including Takata airbags. Motley Rice is headquartered in Mount Pleasant at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard. We are honored to have Motley Rice as a sponsor for the JB and Goldwater Show and the Big Gamecock Preview Show.
At Patriots Point Naval and Maritime Museum, families walk in the footsteps of our nation's heroes, the brave ones who risked their lives to defend our way of life. Home to the aircraft carrier USS Yorktown, USS Laffey, and the USS Clamagore, there's more than 1 million square feet of exhibit space to roam. White Glove certified, we have several new health safety measures in place to enhance the visitor experience. Come for the day and leave feeling inspired. One of the most impressive museums in the country, located right here in Mount Pleasant. Visit patriotspoint.org for more. We'll see you soon.
People don't like to get stuck in traffic, stuck in the mud, stuck at work, and 2 others you probably don't think much about, stuck with a big medical bill or stuck with a healthcare program that doesn't fit who you are. Experience true medical freedom with Share Healthcare. More affordable, more options, user-friendly, and biblically sound. You can join right now. Explore a new way to show you care with Share Healthcare. Join us today at sharehealthcare.com. sharehealthcare.com.
This is Scott Glaze, head golf professional at the Links at Stono Ferry, located on the outskirts of Charleston, South Carolina. I'm inviting you to tee it up on one of the most scenic and challenging courses in the Lowcountry. Our back nine is highlighted with 3 holes that border the Intercoastal Waterway. Visit stonoferrygolf.com to book tee times and discover all that Stono Ferry has to offer. The Links at Stono Ferry is a former South Carolina Golf Course of the Year and is also home to the College of Charleston men's and women's golf teams. Come see us. We would love to have you. stonoferrygolf.com.
Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
Hi, I'm Chris Half, Public Information Officer at the Patriots Point Naval and Maritime Museum. We're home of the mighty USS Yorktown, USS Laffey, Flamagore, and Vietnam experience. And we're a proud partner of the JB and Goldwater Show. We invite you and your family to come see us and enjoy a day on Charleston Harbor. Visit patriotspoint.org for more information. And now, it is my honor to present the National Anthem.
Live, loud, and online.
All right, it's the final hour of Wednesday and of our work week, at least on the air. Darren's going to fly to Cali. I hope he comes back. If he doesn't, we're in big trouble next Monday, but he's scheduled to be back before then. So we hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful Easter weekend. Darren, of course, going out there to celebrate Passover with his family, and we certainly wish them safe travels there. And
California?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's on the it's out west. It's
What part of California?
I'll be in Pacific Palisades, actually, outside LA.
Wow.
Yeah,
Flying into LAX or Burbank or
yeah, we'll go into LAX. We're going Delta because if I can go Delta, I go Delta pretty much at all times. So we got Delta, we got the Sky Club and our layovers, and basically you just you got to make it a day of it. I enjoy traveling. I do. So does my daughter. So that's good.
I love California. I mean, I love visiting. I love the weather. I haven't been in a long time. But one of the things I want to go fly in and spend a couple of days in LA and then rent a convertible and drive across the desert to Vegas.
We did the Pacific Coast Highway for one of our anniversaries. Started south and went up north into the vineyards and all that.
How was that?
Awesome. I would recommend it. Convertible, everything. The wife found some, I wouldn't call them dumps, creative Airbnbs. They weren't dumps. They were nice. I'm more of a hotel kind of guy, but she found some cool places to stay along the way. So we did.
How long did it take you?
Oh, I think we did it in 5 days. I mean, it just depends on how much you want to drive each day and how long you want to spend in various different towns.
Like that's what I was going to ask is how far you were driving each day or how long?
Not too long, couple hours, but it's gorgeous. I mean, you're driving in a convertible, like with the ocean there. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't feel like you're driving.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would like to do that one day when I don't have kids tugging at every piece of my fiber day in and day out. All right. Well, safe travels. JC enjoys Chicago. So he'll be in California. I'll be at the spring game and you're in Chicago. We know who's winning here. No offense, JC. Don't hang up on us. But we're going to spend plenty of time with Mr. Shurburtt as we kind of wrap things up here on a Wednesday. So you stick around as long as you feel like sticking around, JC. The details for the weekend, if you're planning to go to Columbia Saturday, remember the block party starts at 10 o'clock outside of the ballpark, Founders Park on Williams Street, if you're going to go watch baseball. And then the game's at 1 o'clock, and the Patrick Davis pregame concert begins at 5 in Gamecock Park across from Williams-Brice. The alumni flag football game is at 6 o'clock inside of Williams-Brice Stadium. You can see all of your favorite former superstars, including guys like Michael Flint in there. Even he's my favorite former superstar. He might not be yours, but he'll be in the game. You'll know who he is, red hair, curly. Garnet and Black game starts at 7, and then immediately following, if you haven't heard, there are fireworks after the ball game. So it should be a fun time in Columbia on Saturday. JC, I mentioned before we went to break that Spencer Rattler is one of those transfers. I'm not sure how much we will see of him on Saturday. I understand that Shane plans to play this like a real game. So they'll have 2 teams, probably a pair of head coaches out there. They'll split it up on sidelines, I guess, is my understanding. And Spencer Rattler will start for one team, the Garnet team, and Luke Doty will start for the Black team, I guess. And then the other quarterbacks will play. And, you know, we all know how a real spring game works. But I just don't know how much they're going to play this young man. And I certainly know that they will do everything in their power to protect the quarterbacks. If you even probably get a whiff of their deodorant, you will be flagged 20 yards and sent to the locker room. Yeah. You're not getting close to any of the quarterbacks on Saturday. That's for sure. I made the statement earlier this week that I hate to say it like this, and I don't mean this derogatory towards Gamecock fans, but let's say there's 30 or 40,000 people there on Saturday night. Many of them are they're just thrilled to go watch Coach Beamer and the Gamecocks play in the spring game. This is something they do every year. They're really excited about it. But let's just be honest with ourselves, right? Thousands of them, if not maybe half, can't wait to do this because of Spencer Rattler. It's almost, JC, you remember the 05 spring game? Spurrier's first, and there was 40,000 people in there, right? And I remember sitting in Williams-Brice that day. I remember walking in, and you could hear people around you. It was almost like there he is. That's him over there. That's him. That's Spurrier. That's Spurrier. They couldn't believe he was inside of Williams-Brice Stadium wearing garnet and black, not blue and orange, from Florida. And it almost feels like there's going to be a similar scenario Saturday evening under the lights.
Yeah, everybody's looking forward to seeing Rattler, and I sort of worry that with it being a spring game, if he misfires on one or two, you're going to hear oh,
of course.
I mean, the entire fan base lit up Luke Doty last year and all summer, and then Doty gets hurt, and then everybody's clamoring for Jason Brown, and then they throw Brown under the bus and want Doty back. I mean, I continue to believe there's a very toxic relationship with quarterbacks at this school, and there has been really since Jake Bentley. I mean, all these guys have just taken some blows. The one guy that really didn't put in the work to even be halfway good, or really didn't do all that well, by his teammates while he was here. And he's some kind of hero to all these guys. And then everybody else who's trying, a lot of them are South Carolina kids too. They're not good enough, So I do worry about that. I worry about the negativity because, the entire athletic department's not out of the woods yet in that regard. But, and I worry too about the Satterfield thing. Oh, you're all Satterfield, blah, blah, blah. And I guess I just worry about overreaction, basically. I've seen some spring games where Carolina looked like under Spurrier, where they didn't look like they knew how to play football. And what sport is this, right? And then they go, 11-2. And I've seen some spring games where you're like, oh, this was a spring game full of promise. And then they go 6-6, 4-8, whatever, and that happens. So I'm concerned about kind of the reaction and the buildup is going to be too big, and that if Rattler doesn't go out there and throw for 400 yards or whatever and light everybody up, everybody's going to be disappointed. Now, that said, that's what I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm looking forward to seeing sort of not only how he performs individually, but how he can the chemistry he has with the other players on the roster, because it is a new quarterback. I started looking at through the years, we're kind of in a period now where transfer quarterbacks have a lot of success in college football. I mean, many of them have been drafted extremely high. Justin Fields was a transfer. People don't think about that. He was at Georgia's first year. Of course, Joe Burrow, transfer. Kyler Murray, transfer. Baker Mayfield, transfer. These teams have done well with transfer quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts was a transfer to Oklahoma. And so, you kind of look at it and you're like, well, it's not, Carolina did well to get their transfer quarterback. And so there's a chance, as long as he does build that chemistry, get the offense down and all that, I think for him to have an excellent year. And so those are the types of things I'm looking for out of him on Saturday night. I almost hope, because you're going to get this. If the offense goes up and down the field, what's wrong with the defense? And I'm hoping that we see a lot of points and a back and forth, up and down game, simply because, if they do it like they did last year, and I don't know, this is a different format with two teams or whatever. Last year, the defense played a lot of base D, a lot of base. And if you notice, South Carolina's offense in the scrimmage portion last year basically lined it up and ran it at them. And the offensive line looked like the Hogs from the Washington, I guess, what are they now, the Commanders or whatever?
Commanders.
The Washington Commandos, because they go commando. I don't know.
May as well.
Yeah.
While they're packing fudge. Yeah.
Well, they're packing fudge. I don't know. They're probably, based on some of these reports, there's been probably a lot of that going on. Some packing fudge and some fudging of numbers and all that. Everybody knew. Who here didn't know Daniel Snyder was a crook?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think Darren did.
There's a problem, Mr. Snyder on the side. Oops, shoot.
Amazing. Amazing.
Anyway, yeah. So I kind of think and this has nothing to do with actual football, right? From a fan's psychological standpoint, I think having a big 35-34 shootout between the Garnet and Black, where Doty and Rattler and Gauthier and Davis are making plays and receivers are catching passes, and I think that would do the fan base some good psychologically. It means absolutely nothing. It means nothing as far as what's going to happen next year. However, I think everybody, it's supposed to be fun, and so I believe that. That would do the fan base some good to see just not only the fireworks after the game, but some fireworks on the field. I think that would do everybody some good. And no offense to the defensive players. I think, maybe those guys get a pick or something like that in man coverage. But if they go out and play base, I think the best thing to do would be for the Gamecock offense to just light them up and to have a big high scoring game.
Slapping the basement. Yeah, see, Craig here in the Share Healthcare chat lines, to be honest, me and my family probably wouldn't be going if it weren't for Rattler. I just can't believe that we've got him. Best skills in a cube quarterback we've ever had, I believe. And I think that that's true. We'll see how it transitions in season. And I agree with you, JC. And I'm really, I really am, and happy that Darren always brings a sense of calm to many of these conversations. This is the third spring, but really the second spring, because we didn't have any spring practices in 2020. But because I understand it, I get it. It's people love football and they're exciting, and but I also have been around a long time, and we all know that what you see in mid-April in a spring game against your own team is in no way, shape, or form reflective of anything that you're going to see in September. But some people don't know that, and they carry on about it. Darren always says the same thing. It's a spring game. Who cares? That's right. With that said, JC, I mean, you've been covering spring games forever. there are things that you can learn. What are those things?
I think it's individual progress. I mean, yeah, like I'm looking forward to seeing TJ Sanders do something. Everybody's been talking about him. Of course, many times the guys that are shining in spring practice and have shined in fall practice year before, they disappeared in the spring game. Then you hear about them again in the season. So it doesn't mean anything. But looking forward to seeing that, and just really the new guys. I mean, because I don't. Admittedly, I didn't watch a ton of Wake Forest football last year. I probably should have. So I want to get a feel for Christian Beal-Smith. I want to see how Lavassier Carroll looks now at running back. I knew what he looked like out of high school, but I want to see what he looks like at running back. Today some news that nobody really talked about that broke was Rashad Amos is playing some fullback H-back type of stuff. Kind of like where Bell plays. And that's a new thing for him, and I'm excited about that because you think about the running backs they have. Well, you got to find a spot for Juju, you got to find a spot for Bill Smith, and there's Marshawn Lloyd, and then Carroll's this talent. Amos is his third year. He's good enough to play somewhere, maybe not as your featured tailback right now, but somewhere. And so that was encouraging to hear. So I want to see what he looks like. Juice Wells, I want to see what he does with the ball in his hand and the separation and all that, that kind of thing. Where do they play E.J. Jenkins? Where does DeCarrion Joyner play? Because that's going to be a big thing for me because, I think there's really a choice here. Either DeCarrion's got to be a better receiver than he was, and if you notice the offense when he was not playing receiver in the bowl game and those other guys that were faster were out there, that vertical passing game came out a little bit more, so he's got to be better. And he can have a better year this year at receiver. I'm not talking about overall because he's a very valuable player. So I want to see where are they using him? Is he just the same guy at receiver and he's eating snaps and taking away from Amarian Brown who runs a 4.24, who can get open deep? Is he actually producing? Do they move him around like they're going to do Jaheim Bell? How much quarterback does he play? Those are all questions I have. I don't know if they'll show all of that in the spring game, but those are questions I have. Marshawn Lloyd, it's his first spring game. He was hurt the year before, he wasn't there the year before and then hurt the next time. There's a practice clip of his from the scrimmage that started circulating on social media. He takes a little screen pass, splits the defenders, and houses it. And that's the back everybody expected. That's the reason Will Muschamp and Des Kitchings and Mike Bobo early in the 2020 practice sessions were like, my God, how special is this guy? And sometimes it takes you a while to get back from an ACL. And I thought last year was very, very unfair to Marshawn just with the way things happened. So looking forward to seeing that. Some of the, is Jordan Birch going to, be a little bit better pass rusher this year? I mean, there's all kinds of things. So it's more to me about the individuals and who flashes and things like that. I mean, just like last year, even though they scrimmaged for like a half, I think we all, setting the angst and consternation and the debate about the Luke Doty, Jason Brown debate that raged all summer, believe me, setting that aside, I think we found out in the spring game last year, Jaheim Bell's a daggum good football player.
Yeah.
Didn't we? The Zaquandre White's a pretty good football player. The White that we saw, in 2020 was not necessarily the Zaquandre we're going to get. So we could tell those types of things.
So let me pause you though. How? No. I want you to expand on that because I look, as much fun as we like to have around here, I do feel like we try to do a good job of helping educate people and what to look for. That's why we used to have Pat DeMarco on and things like that. So when you go back to that game last year, there's two examples. They're perfect. Jaheim Bell and Zaquandre White, because you and I had the same thought, JC. We talked, I think, the day after the game and said, you might have your starting running back right there, regardless of who's on the bench, and Jaheim Bell's going to have to play. But why? What was it that gave you – what was the evidence that made you say that? Was it the stats? Was it the speed? What was it? What did you see in the game through your eyes that said, okay, these two guys are really good?
Well, with White, it was just, compared to Okay, so I'll go with White first. On his JUCO film, he was kind of a bobber and darter, which is what I kind of think Christian Bill Smith's going to be. Sort of juked and, kind of a juker, jiver, I'm sorry, not a bob and a slasher. So you call a slasher. And there's all kinds of different types of slasher running backs that, they're all pretty good. But he would take it and, dart here, dart there, find the hole, and it was he used his elusiveness to kind of get there. Wasn't really into breaking tackles or anything like that. And I think when he got to Carolina, that offense with Bobo, part of the reason that Kevin Harris and Deshaun Fenwick, quite frankly, were so good and White wasn't, was those guys are downhill runners. And Des Kissinger did a great job of getting Deshaun Fenwick to finally go downhill. And once he did, you saw he's pretty good. He's pretty good at Oregon State this year. Zaquandre really needed to adjust. He was dancing in the hole, things like that. And then they moved him to safety or whatever, and he had a great attitude. Well, then you come out spring and you hear about him all spring, and then in the spring game, he's getting more north-south. He's still elusive. He's still a guy that could make people miss in a phone booth. But he's running through tackles, and he's running with a full head of steam and getting north-south quicker rather than dancing in the hole. With Jaheim Bell, it's just this massive athleticism and skill. Catching the ball, lining up at fullback, blocking. He's 6'3", 230. You got to remind yourself of that. The way he runs, like Secretariat almost out there. And all those things, and then his passion that he brings to the game, in my opinion. I think Jaheim plays with a lot of fire and loves football. And that's an intangible that gets lost these days. If you don't love football, you can be as talented as you want. You're never going to reach your potential. And it's not always easy to tell who loves football and who doesn't, but it's obvious that Jaheim Bell does. That's why last year I was just really sick to my stomach at times when they would not get him the ball or when he wasn't in the game plan or whatever. Jaheim, as we all found out at the end, very valuable player. And although we won't see him Saturday, that's fine. We don't need to see him Saturday. He's got to get that hammy well. And, man, you start thinking about that and, it's easy to, you start thinking about South Carolina's offense, guys. And, I'll use the Clemson game as an example. And I have a miniature article coming up on Big Spur about that this afternoon. I'm going to write up. I think about the last few Clemson games, not 2018 necessarily, but 2019, 2017, 2021, the ones in Columbia. South Carolina's offense looked noticeably slow compared to those guys. On defense. And Clemson obviously has one of the faster defenses in the country. But if you start thinking about it, who was fast last year? Well, Josh Vann was kind of fast. Jaheim, wasn't really in the game plan for whatever reason. But then Vann injured his hamstring that week. So they just didn't have the speed to kind of, compete in that one. You think about 2019, who was the fast guy on that team? Well, the running backs were fast, but they were banged up. Shi Smith, that was it. 2017, you go into that game and, of course, Debo had gotten hurt earlier in the year and Shi Smith gets hurt that week. So that takes away a vertical threat for Jake. And then A.J. Turner, who was your fastest back, he hurts himself in the pregame and doesn't get to play. So you're left with like Ortre Smith and Brian Edwards and then Tyson Williams, fastest guy on the field. And then, of course, they missed the early pass to Hayden Hurst that would have set the tone, and Jake threw a pick. But, I think about those games because when you break those games down, and those are the games that a lot of people pay attention to, there was a noticeable difference speed-wise between Clemson's defense and South Carolina's offense. Well, and then South Carolina just didn't have that many fast guys. Well, now, Jaheim Bell's a fast guy. Josh Vann is back and healthy. He's a fast guy. Amari Brown's a fast guy, and he's playing now. That's good. You have Juice Wells, who's a fast guy. You got Corey Rucker coming in. Xavier Leggette's a sub 4.5 guy. He's starting to play and play well. You kind of start listing it. Marshawn Lloyd, fast guy.
Juju.
Spencer Rattler, Juju McDowell. Guys that can take it to the house. Guys that can make two people miss and house it. There's a lot more of those guys than maybe there was. And, I think about those games because when you break those games down, and those are the games that a lot of people pay attention to, there was a noticeable difference speed-wise between Clemson's defense and South Carolina's offense. Well, and then South Carolina just didn't have that many fast guys. And whether that's because a guy like Amari and Brown's decided and Xavier Legette, they've gotten better and healthy and they're ready to roll, or whether that's a newcomer like Juice Wells coming in, or a guy like McDowell who's in his second year, or Lloyd who's now healthy. The list goes on and on. So I'm very encouraged by that overall heading into the season. And you hope to kind of see some of that on display Saturday night.
JC Shurburtt, owner of the Big Spur, 1:30 on Wednesday afternoon. All right, so last year you mentioned in the spring game, as we were just talking about, Jaheim Bell, Zaquandre White. Those were the two real names, especially offensively, that we took away and said, okay, they've got a chance to be really good for South Carolina come the fall. And if you ask me and most, they were the best offensive players for South Carolina. Josh Vann is going to be sprinkled in there. Clearly, Kevin Harris came on, and we know what he did in the bowl game. But those two names are constantly going to come up. I think Zaquandre White, regardless of what the reasoning was when he was absent for those 4 games, was probably overall your best running back last year. All right, but if you go to 2020, JC, Jaheim had 1 catch that season. Zaquandre had 10 carries for about 60 yards. And remember, he got moved to defense that year as well. So it's not like they had a track record of a bunch of success. And then we see him in the spring game, and then we see him in the fall. So who are those guys this year? Like, who are guys that you just mentioned a bunch of dudes that we know about. We've seen them. But you haven't mentioned anybody that we haven't seen or that we don't know about. Do we have any of those guys this go around, or is this mainly a group of quote unquote veterans that will collaboratively be the difference makers in 2022?
I think Amari and Brown, and everybody was excited about him because of what he did at Georgia Tech, and obviously you need receivers, but he just was not in a groove last year, but he's picked it up. I think the bowl game and the success he had there, you started to kind of see what he was all about. And I think he's going to be a guy. I think Xavier Legette, and again, there were signs. Jaheim Bell in 2020 hurt it, was coming off an injured ACL in high school and then just never got going.
Right.
I think he tweaked it again or whatever. But you look at it and, Xavier Legette is a guy. 2019, he comes in. Gosh, this is 4th year, man. Crazy, isn't it?
It is.
He comes in. I thought one of the mistakes BMAC made that year was not, giving him special attention during the fall and really getting him ready to play because he was doing well for a freshman, but not quite ready to go play. And so you look at it and it's like, they needed him later. And he played, he caught a touchdown against Vandy and all that. Then in 2020, he's moving towards being a solid number 2 guy behind Shi Smith. Caught some passes against Tennessee, caught some against Florida. The offense was moving it at the time. And then after the Vandy game, he just disappears. And, of course, we had the Will Muschamp injury report, which is basically just like, yeah, we're fine. I mean, COVID made it even worse because he didn't have to talk about anything. No. It's just like somebody could have been, you could have seen somebody with 2 legs amputated getting wheeled across campus, and he'd ask him about, you'd ask Will about it, and he'd be like, no, he's going to be fine. He's all right. He's all right. We oiled up that wheel, and he's still going to class. Put some mayonnaise on it, man. Or I'm sorry, Windex or whatever, or mayonnaise. The big fat Greek wedding. Put some Windex on it. That'd be cool for down south though, like my big fat Southern wedding. Put some mayonnaise on it. Don't you get that damn Hellman's away from me? This is a Duke's house.
Duke's only, baby.
You can't put, But anyway, so then lo and behold, Mike Bobo takes over, and somebody finally asked about Xavier.
Oh, he's out. He's out for the year.
It's like the Missouri. It's like the Kentucky Georgia game. It's like, oh, unfortunately, he's been injured for the year since September. Next, and so you know, so the injury lingers. Xavier misses spring. He doesn't get the Justin Stepp and Marcus Satterfield both said last spring. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to play. We don't know what he can do. Finally, he gets back and he's going, trugging right along in preseason, and the poor guy's a car wreck. And he gets injured again. And he doesn't, and so you don't hear from him again until the Vanderbilt game. And it's like, hey, he was 17. He just caught that's Xavier Legette. It's like, hey, what? But he's money against Vanderbilt. I think that's both of his touchdown catches have come in. But you notice that after that game, Xavier was probably the third or fourth receiver. There were times he would make some unbelievable catches, guys. One-handed, going out of bounds. I think he had one of the. It wasn't very many, but he was coming along. So then he's healthy, and then you see, this guy's 6'2", 215, and runs 4.4. He has a great offseason in the winter program. Bigger, stronger, faster, great shape. He's continued that in the spring. He was a guy that was going to have to develop, played quarterback in high school, whatever. So, that's another guy I really have my eye on. And then Rashad Amos. Yeah. And I named all offensive guys. There's some defensive guys, but that would take too long for me to list all those guys. I think Rashad Amos, especially after what I read today with how they're going to use him, I've always been extremely intrigued by him. I'm even more extremely intrigued now. So if you're looking for some guys that could win the Taqib Muhammad Award, which is the guy that comes out of nowhere that's an MVP in the spring game. Now, the Taqib Muhammad Award winner is batting about 200 as far as being good in the season. But if you're looking for a Taqib Muhammad Award winner, those are my guys I got.
Love Taqib Muhammad. Loved watching him play. Great guy as well. Just super.
Remember, he lit up the spring game that year, though, man.
Yeah.
It was
that's Flint's boy.
14 passes, great guy. Holtz, I think, moving him back and forth between DP and kind of like he did Andrea Galls. Like, I often wonder what would have happened had Andrea Galls stayed at receiver.
Yeah.
That 0-2 team, because he was good and fast. And, then they moved him to corner. They just go over there and stay a corner, Andrea Galls.
Well, you brought up, I'm with you on Amos. I loved his quote earlier today, asked if he's been buried on the depth chart as he considered transferring. He said, well, why would I do that? Competition's good for everybody. Rashad Amos appears to be here for the long haul, regardless of whether they bring in Christian Beal Smith or
somebody asking me, he's thinking about transferring?
Why had you not thought about transferring?
Why had you not?
Why had you not? Last year, with Zaquan Droy and Kevin and Marshawn, and then this year Beal Smith, he's not quote unquote the guy, but he is the guy for me that is the most intriguing going in, because we saw him run a couple of years ago at the end of the season, JC, and I remember watching him going, my God, he reminds me of Corey Boyd. He runs downhill. He's kind of tall, but he's got some lean to him. He's got some power. He's got a little bit of a mean streak. And then I know he got a little banged up. So I totally agree on that. I've got some feelers out on this, and I'm anxious to see the responses I get back. I am really anxious to see both Eric Shaw and EJ Jenkins. And EJ Jenkins specifically for this reason, because we know he's big, but Spencer Rattler has been around the block, right? He's smart enough to know if that cat's on the field and he's in trouble, just give him a chance to go up and get it. So I feel like he's going to have more opportunities if he earns his way onto the field, because he's got a quarterback that understands that he's a safety valve. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. And I think Austin Stogner is going to be that kind of guy too.
Yeah, well, he's not in the spring game, JC. We're sticking to the players that are here. Come on.
Shaw to me is extremely intriguing. I just have not heard a word about him, and I got to get on my guys a little bit, because I actually sent an email. I was like, can one of you please ask about Eric Shaw next time you're in a press conference?
Well, what is Whittle and McGranahan doing?
I'm just going to be like, look, man.
It's just pathetic.
It's too late now.
What the hell is going on? Yeah.
But no, so I heard Eric was moved to receiver at the end of last year. Got a little scoop on that, and
Right.
I was like, okay, well, I mean, because he's having trouble losing or gaining weight.
Yes.
I mean, and that's unfortunate because this was a big-time 4-star guy they got out of Alabama that was dominant on offense and defense at the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game. Really a coup by Bobby Bentley getting this guy out of Real Town, Alabama. Real Town. I love that. Welcome to Real Town.
Yeah.
But, you know, and so they're like, well, if he's not a tight end, he can at least be a defensive end outside linebacker, you know, but he's only 200 pounds, so he's going to have to get. And he's kind of been on the Darius English plan where, that freshman 20 did not come.
Mm-hmm.
He's staying around 208 or something like that. And, you know, that's tough. So they moved him to receiver. And then, you know, I saw him on the new measurement for him on the roster. He's 6'5", 210. That's a good number. So I'm very intrigued to see, you know, because, you know, he runs really well. You know, EJ does too, but Eric Shaw's probably a 4'6" guy, a 4'5" guy, and that tall. So I'm with you. That's the international man of mystery. I'm hoping that receiver's working out, and he's just behind some guys right now, because I believe that for next year, you know, if he has a year where he really develops and gets going, the next year Eric Shaw's the type of athlete that could help. And then my second question would be, if he's not going to do a receiver, can you put him at outside linebacker? Does he play well enough with leverage to play that spot? You know, is he a DPR on third and long? You know, at 200, can he get to 225 and do that? You know, I've got a lot of questions about, because I'd hate for them to just give up on the guy. You know, unless I hear from somebody that, hey, he just can't play football, he's just big, you know that. But I would be surprised by that. So yeah, I'm with you there. I hope receiver works out, because, you know, there's a lot of older receivers on this roster this year, and you know, probably a lot. Chances are they're gonna have pretty good years and move on. So, you know, having a guy that's 6'5", 210 that's coming into his own for 2023 would be monstrous. I think, for the Gamecocks.
Real quick before I do want to touch on some coaching stuff, and then I want to get to some Big Spur stuff before we let you run, JC. But the kickers, I mean, we've been talking about offense, we've been talking about defense, everybody's been talking about that. Parker White is no longer here. He was here for a little over a decade, but now he is off to hopefully the NFL. We'll find out shortly, as a matter of fact. I'm sure he'll be signed at some point in time in the next couple of weeks after the NFL draft has completed. Go Wando. But this is going to be a new era of kickers, and I'm anxious to see what it looks like. I don't know, JC, that Coach Beamer is going to say, hey, have you ever kicked before? Nah. All right, we got a 54-yarder. Run out there and clear that sucker for me. We really need it here. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see. But what are you hearing from a special teams standpoint?
You know,
all right, that sounds good. Moving on.
Yeah,
Herrera and Jeter are battling out. It would surprise me if Jeter didn't win it. I thought Jeter probably.
Now, is it Derek or
no? It's Mitch.
Mitch. Okay,
Mitch Jeter,
the better one.
I thought maybe he would maybe give Parker White a run for his money if he ended up, ended up faltering, but Parker did not. Parker had an outstanding year in 2021 and really deserved everything he got, records-wise and all that. But Mitch has had a strong leg, and Mitch is pretty accurate. Mitch wasn't all that great at kicking off at times, but early on, but he's been good. Then but Herrera appears to be giving him a run for his money. And then you got Luckhurst from Arizona State coming in. Okay. I think those of you that were Falcons fans back in the day, Mick Luckhurst, I think that's either his son or his grandson. I don't know. He's related to Mick Luckhurst, though, unless I'm just completely making that up. But he's coming in, and he's got some experience. But I'd be surprised if it weren't Jeter, just because and it's not just because Jeter's a scholarship guy. Sometimes the scholarship guy isn't as good as the walk-on and all that. But I've just seen him kick well in the few times he's been able to do it since he's been here. And I think it's sort of his time. And then Kai Kroger, of course, has a chance to continue to be one of the best punters in the SEC.
Yeah, he's special.
The lefty, I would like to see him a little more consistent this year than he was last year, get back to that freshman form, but that's very minor. And obviously the guy's got a good arm. We saw against Tennessee last year. But, I'm excited about that, the kicking game yet again, just because I think Coach Muschamp did a really good job of stacking younger players, and getting Kroger out of Chicago, of all places. He's the only guy from Chicago on the roster.
I mean, you might as well, if you're going to punt 7 times a game, you might sign him.
I drive up there. He lives on the big side of town. Woo! I may roll over there to the big side of town and do a feature on him this summer or something. Woo! But and then they recruited those guys, and people are like, "Why are you signing 2 kickers?" And Muschamp just kind of looked at them like they were stupid, like he always did. Like, wait do you see him kick?
Because we kick a lot.
Because we kick a lot. I mean, come on.
What do you mean? Why? We kick 60 field goals a year, and we punt it almost 100 times in 12 games.
Any regrets having Parker White try a 67-yard fild goal at Athens to win the game? No.
What?
No, I thought he'd kick.
No, he's good. I was fully confident in him.
No, I'll tell you this about Will White. He had an unshakable faith in Parker White. Even when it's like not time to have an unshakable faith in Parker White. Like his first year, poor Parker is like, he's hitting about 50%. It's like, Carolina's like 4th and 1 at the 39. Field goal.
Parker, you got 60 in you.
And he kicked it 67 yards, but it'd be like, a cock-a-boost to the left or something. But, it
turned out to be a good one.
Hey, man, no doubt. I got to give –
set the school record. It kind of worked out.
You can't argue with the career he had. And, I don't know his dad, but I'm friends with him on Facebook, so I feel like I do. And he seems to be just a tremendous person and all that. I think his name's Brad White. Yeah. So I've never met him, but for some reason, friends with him on Facebook, and he seems like a terrific family and all that. But that's what I think with the kicking game. I think Mitch and Kai will be back, and then Kai, I guess, will be 3rd year or so, or 2nd technically. So you got him a while, and you got Jeter a while because they both came in 2020, so that year didn't even count. So these guys are basically 2nd-year guys. So the kicking department looks pretty stellar. I think for the foreseeable future.
Oh, wow. It's National Scrabble Day. I used to love to play Scrabble. And it's also National Thomas Jefferson Day. I love Thomas Jefferson. Look, Parker White is he's a points leader in South Carolina. It is a great family. Grew up with his brother, Brad, who graduated with Michael Flint from Wando, and he was a kicker as well. And hopefully the kicking game this year is solid. And Coach Muschamp, if you're watching, we're clearly just picking on you because, as I've said 1,000 times, Will Muschamp has always been super to me, and I certainly wish him and his family the best. All right, a couple new coaches on the field this year, JC. Not sure how much attention that's going to get on Saturday, but the attention will be, as it will continue to be, until people see something that is consistently producing on Marcus Satterfield as the offensive coordinator. But on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being nothing, 10 being everything, how much can we really judge Marcus Satterfield by in a spring game? I'm going to go with about a 1.7.
I don't think a lot, because I was like last year they operationally nobody was confused. I mean, the line fired off the ball, knew their assignments.
What?
It was last year.
Talking about in the spring game?
Spring game, man.
Oh, I thought you were talking about. I said, JC, did you miss the first 12 games of the season? I know you watched the bowl game, but
no. I'm talking about the spring game last year. You saw a very methodical, smooth, well-oiled and I thought at the very least they won't be confused.
Yeah, well, we were wrong. I mean, I think that's kind of where I'm going with this. Like, how do you even?
It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. I mean, I think from a all of us have a headache all summer having to deal with questions and griping standpoint. Yeah, man, I hope he lights it up.
Yeah, I bet Shane's going to make sure they score about 80 points on Saturday night.
But does that mean that, they're going to do that against Sean Elliott's team? No, but I think a lot of, spring games, the big offensive spring games, fans like those at all schools. So, just for the fans standpoint.
And pick sixes.
Yeah.
But my God, Spencer Rattler, don't throw a pick six. You will never play football here again if it's up to the fan base.
Yeah.
The fan base would cut him. Like it's a pick six in a spring game, and he's done.
Yep. Oh, this guy.
Not that good. There's
no wonder he got beat out last year. Yeah, I know.
So I don't know. So I think, so I'm hoping for some offense and another smooth operating deal. And, and we'll see what happens. But, I don't know that, you don't really give away too many secrets on offense when you're doing a spring game, unless you're Steve Spurrier. He didn't care.
I'll be honest with you. I kind of wish they would have given away that Jordan Birch pass secret in last year's spring game, so we could have known. Yeah, we don't ever need to see that again.
Spurrier in open practice. He's like, "What are they going to do? Shoot, they can't stop it anyway. Come on, I'm just calling the ball plays and shoot." He did get mad one time when his shifts. During a scrimmage, because that was right around the time everybody started having a video camera, and he got mad because everything was wide open until then. And he's like, "Oh, they're putting their shifts and stuff on the internet. We can't have that. We'll shut it down."
Left,
but he'd love it. Spring game. Oh shoot, I'm just gonna call all my ball plays today, and I can go against this defense in practice all the time. And he sure enough, he'd carve them up. And only thing that bad would happen is if a quarterback had a bad day, like Chris Smelly, I think, threw 5 interceptions. And then that's when Tommy Beecher became the starter for
and then he threw 4 in the first game.
And he's just, poor Tommy, man. I'll admit I had a lot higher hopes for Tommy Beecher.
Yeah. I felt bad for him.
What's hilarious is Beecher's struggling and stuff. And Russell Wilson is the quarterback at NC State, by the way.
Yeah,
Russell freaking.
He wasn't much. He wasn't any better.
The Carolina's defense destroyed him.
Yeah, we won.
And Carolina's up 6-0 at halftime. They get a defensive touchdown, 13-0. Finally, Chris Smelly comes in. Spurs, man, come on, Chris, just come on in. We're gonna throw it around the yard. And he throws 3 touchdown passes late in the game because he's pissed off. Just runs it up. He's like, "Shoot, Coach O'Brien's probably mad at me, but we're a struggling bunch, right? You're a struggling bunch." And that's not actually a Spurrier impersonation. I'm impersonating James Bates, impersonating Steve Spurrier when I do that.
Yeah.
By the way, if you've ever heard James Bates do it, because my Spurrier impersonation is sort of like this. Head ball coach here. It's But Spurrier's like, Bates takes enough like this. He's like, "Oh shoot," I like that. Anyway.
I wonder if Steve will be in town on Saturday. Be interested to see. I got a feeling that Shane is going to. Shane's going to bring the stars out. There's a bunch of recruits in town this weekend. JC, wrap us up on that real quick. There's a number of talented prospects that will be inside of Williams-Brice Stadium. It's a big day for them.
Yeah, Terrion Webb's supposed to be in town. Carolina's losing a little bit of ground with him to the Gators, I think, but he's a Jacksonville kid. Grayson Howard, 4-star linebacker from Jacksonville too, coming in. Carolina needed to get him back on campus. Clemson sort of made a move with him, and I tell people this too. We're about to enter, and this is a positive thing, folks. But you got to prepare yourself for it. So we're about to enter the point where South Carolina is going to be recruiting against Clemson for some players.
Yep.
Which is a good thing. Clemson recruits at a national level. They recruit good players. You lose something. That's just kind of how it is right now. So don't freak out. I think a lot of Gamecock fans have been shielded by it. But he's going to be in town. A lot of in-state players, a lot of the players that have not yet enrolled will be there. Corey Rucker, I think, is going to be there, all that good stuff. So it's really going to be a star-studded list of visitors in terms of 2023 and 2024. Dylan Lonergan, who's those of you that love quarterbacks, that's the quarterback target that they've zeroed in on for 2023. He's supposed to be there too. I don't really have anybody on commit watch right now, but it's Wednesday, so we'll
never know.
if that happens. But yeah, it's normally nice to get one of the spring. Connor Shaw committed at the spring game. Yes, shoot, Connor. GA told me we got a quarterback. Who is he?
Well, yeah.
All right, second shoot, who is he? Oh, the stalk. Oh, yeah, shoot. He can really run.
GA told me we got a quarterback.
Yeah, that's probably how it went down, you know. GA told me we got a quarterback. Shoot, all right. Welcome. I got to tell a story real quick. I know we got 5 minutes. Well, Spur, South Carolina, the worst recruiting, and bless this kid's heart. Worst recruiting. This is when you sort of knew, and this is kind of toward the end, right? Going into the 2014 season. And at that point, Whammy and Spur Jr. had taken over all recruiting on both sides of the ball. And Whammy was taking all these kids out of Stevenson. And they had this little linebacker named Kite Dallas, I promise you guys, he was about 5'8", 220. And built like it, and could not run nor play football that well. And so he's just visiting, and everybody's happy, you know, Stevenson kids, and he just walks up and walks right up to Spur and Whammy, said, "I'm going to commit." And Whammy's like, "Okay." Spur's like, "Hey, welcome, shoot." And they took it, and they're like, "Whoa, coach! Whoa, wait! I don't know how they didn't get on the same page. You know, I'm going to commit. Oh, shoot! Hey, welcome. Well, Whammy, what's he going to play?" And so they had to spend like the rest of the whole deal trying to get out of that. Kid ended up at Georgia State. I don't think he played a whole lot there either. But man, I saw this kid at a camp after he had committed, and I'm like looking at him. I'm like, how did they arrive at just from the eyeball test? And then I was like, well, maybe he's one of these guys, kind of like Robert Condici's brother was a shorter linebacker, but he was a great player, and you could see it. I was like, no, he's small and slow. Well, is he quick, twitch, good? Maybe he's good laterally because linebackers have. Hey, maybe he's got instincts. No instincts. But they spent the whole daggum time trying to get out of that. Then finally he went to Georgia State. Now, I've always been pretty thankful that Georgia State did it. And look, I feel terrible because it's not that kid's fault. I mean, it's not that kid's fault. And I feel awful about it. But, I mean, shoot, it's been 7 years, so now I can he's not a kid anymore, so I can say that. But that was kind of the worst. That was kind of the beginning of the end. If I had to title, I put that in a book about the Spur era, the beginning of the end, the Kite Dallas story.
Yeah, that prompted the I'll probably be around here another 2 or 3 more years. Wait, what? Decommit.
Yeah, I mean, man, and you know what, guys, the decommits that hurt the worst in that one probably was Jair Alexander.
Yeah,
who went to Louisville.
Yeah.
And they didn't even care. They're like, shoot, we'll just get better than Jair Alexander. No, well, then you end up not getting better.
Yeah, and now he's a Pro Bowler.
Pro Bowler, and it's amazing that him committed, Damon Arnett committed, Mark Fields, who went to Clemson, committed, and then they got Rashad Fenton and Chris Lamons in that class. Or no, just Fenton in that class. So that would have been a heck of a D-backs class, right?
Yeah. Fields probably should have come to South Carolina. He would have played much more and much sooner.
Yeah, Fields ended up not being as good because Fields and Alexander were buddies, but Clemson wasn't going to take Alexander either. So he went to Louisville. But there were some fun times in recruiting back then. Like the Michael Scarnecchia thing was unbelievable.
Oh God, yeah.
I guess like Spurs went out to dinner with the Scarnecchias and it's like, shoot, GA, we got a quarterback.
Wait, what? GA's told me the story. We did sign. Now, who is this coach?
I'm glad they signed Scarnecchia. He won a football game for him, right?
He sure did.
And those are the only 2 guys, Spurrier and then Dylan Thompson. 3 guys Spurrier stood on the table for recruiting his entire time he's at South Carolina.
Marco, yeah.
Michael Scarnecchia and Dylan Thompson. And all 3 of those guys had direct impacts on Carolina winning and losing football games.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's amazing how as much crap as he gets from recruiting, when he set his mind to it, boy, I can take a flyer on this one. He's good.
you wish he would have loved to recruited because he could probably out-recruit anybody.
It makes me think maybe you should have taken Kite Dallas. Maybe that was the next Sam Mills. I mean, I'm looking back on it. No, actually he wasn't. He wasn't. You know, that was just the Spurs just standing there talking about, oh, welcome. Shoot, what's he going to play? You know?
Well, before we let you run, JC, I just want to point out we do have to go, so I'll just have to send people to the website, thebigspur.com. JC is announced previously, and now he is updated this morning. The new NIL collective through the Big Spur, it's called Carolina Rise. There will be much more information coming out on that soon, but it is well underway, and the specifics are available on thebigspur.com as well as to what exactly that will do and how it will benefit student athletes at the University of South Carolina. And then I also want to point out that I did see this yesterday, and I'm going to really try my hardest to come up and be a part of it. The Big Spur Golf Tournament will return. It's going to be at Charwood in up outside of Columbia, benefiting Ryan Fisher, who unfortunately passed away last year after some COVID complications. Ryan, one of the best. And it's the Ryan Fisher Baseball Manager Scholarship Fund. John Whittle's been all over this. If you want to play golf, this is something that you need to pay attention to. $70 to do it, a foursome for $240 on Monday, May the 23rd, with a 9:00 shotgun start that morning at Charwood in Columbia. So, like I said, JC, I'm gonna do my darndest to try to get up there and play some golf, and we'll keep promoting it for you. But thebigspur.com has the details on all that stuff, and it's really exciting times to be a part of this spring as we continue to patiently await football season, which we'll kind of get a glimpse of on Saturday. We kept you forever today, man. Thank you very, very, very much. I know that y'all have a full list of prospects available here.
Yeah, big list and coverage of the spring game. And then we got a new basketball assistant coaching job that we didn't get to talk about that we're tracking. So that's going to be the big news, I think, hopefully in the next couple of
I'm hearing it's a fairly big name too.
Yeah. Give me a buzz because I'll probably, here this afternoon, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I'll do that.
You guys didn't know we talked off air, did you?
Y'all, people, there's a lot of things people don't know, and they don't know who we talk about either. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
Thank you, JC. Happy Easter.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Later, JC Shurburtt, owner of thebigspur.com, and happy Passover to Darren Goldwater and his entire family as you fly way, way, way west. Where's your layover? At Hotlanta?
Oh yeah. Because we're going Delta. So I love it. I love the Atlanta airport. It's perfect.
Really?
Yeah, man. It's one of the easiest ones to get around. You're not going to miss your flight. You don't have to run. It's perfect.
That's never happened to me. Every time I get off, they're like, "Oh, we've changed your gate to 6 miles that way." We had to run through it with the kids in 2020.
Nope, standing rule. Not running through an airport.
Dude,
not going to do it.
I don't blame you. But when you have twins who are a year old, you kind of have to do it. You don't have a choice.
Nope. It breaks the standing rule. Nope.
All right, man. Safe travels.
Appreciate it. Have a good Easter.
Thanks to everybody, and we hope you have a wonderful Easter weekend. Enjoy whatever you're doing. We'll see you on Monday on the JB and Goldwater Show.